PlayStation, they are increasing the prices of the PS5. We will take a look at exactly what that price increase is. We have a bit more info here on more games from Activision coming to Game Pass potentially. The banner is showing up and it does look like they are prepping here for an announcement. We have the list of some of the most engaged Game Pass games recently. Adamfall doing very, very well. We've seen the player numbers for it, and I think Game Pass has played a major role in that. So we'll talk about that plus many other things, some Avowed news, some more Switch 2 stuff. Marathon as well has some more interesting stuff to go over. But if it is your first time here and you like daily gaming news, every morning, 8 a.m., staying up to date on everything happening in the industry, also like gaming discussions and those types of videos, make sure to hit the subscribe. I see about half of you who do watch are not subscribed, so I would appreciate that. But for now, let's jump into it. So we'll start off here with just a continuation of a story we talked about the other day, and that is the classic Activision games coming over to Xbox Game Pass. We have been waiting for more games to make their way over to the service. There have been announcements and releases as well, but a lot of people will love to see classic Call of Duties as well as other games within the back catalog of Activision to jump onto the service. And we have an update here with another game that has gotten that Xbox Game Pass banner via the Microsoft Store on PC. And it really does seem like this is happening because other times we have seen things like this occur where the included with Game Pass banners do show up on games. Xbox has come out and said that it was an error, or if they've accidentally sent out an email that got people thinking games are dropping into Game Pass, they have corrected. They have not yet. They may this week, we will see. But what it says here is according to the Microsoft Store on PC, which has added included with Game Pass banners on Call of Duty World at War, Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. And the new one here that now is getting this is Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. We've talked about World at War, which I think would be awesome. Great multiplayer, a great game that people would go back in their play and populate the lobbies. Infinite Warfare, the multiplayer wasn't as good, but the single player campaign is a lot of fun. So it would be cool to see people playing through that who missed it on the first time around, especially because of the reviews about the multiplayer and everything. So that'd be cool. And then when it comes to Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, that one just makes a ton of sense simply because of the fact that 3 and 4 is going to be dropping soon, and that's going to Game Pass Day 1. So they want to get people acquainted with it who haven't played the first two remakes yet, which phenomenal. If you like Tony Hawk's, they did such a great job with it. I feel like this time it's happening. These games will be dropping into the service, and it's probably at a time when there may be a little bit of a downtime within Game Pass, whenever that will be, because right now, obviously April has been phenomenal. May is looking very good. And then we have the June showcase. So maybe this will be a big Xbox Activision announcement at Xbox's June showcase, which would get people excited. They always have to have something in there, I think, every single month, just to have people hyped up for Game Pass and to potentially reach customers who like these games that they're announcing and then would go ahead and try it in the month that whatever game they're interested in is coming out. So hope this is true. And I hope this is just kind of more of the beginning as we continuously get the back catalog of Activision Blizzard games trickled down into the Xbox Game Pass service. All right, let's talk big numbers here for Game Pass in March, the most popular games that debuted for March 2025. And not a surprise, but Adamfall, which we've seen the numbers, there are over 2 million players or so. The game has been very successful, is the most popular by a significant margin here. They say Adamfall was 237.8% more popular amongst our representative sample than Mullet Majak, which was the second most popular game for March 2025. And you can see here the top 10 list of most popular games: Adamfall, Mullet Majak, One Lonely Outpost, Blizzard Arcade Collection. That's another Blizzard game, as we were talking about those games dropping into the service. Enter the Gungeon, Mythwrecked Ambrosia Island, Monster Train, Train Sim World 5, Octopath Traveler 2, and Galacticare. I'll say I haven't played Adamfall yet. It's absolutely on my backlog. I've only heard good things about the game. Mullet Majak, if you have not played this game, highly recommend going to check it out. It is a ton of fun. It is a fast-paced FPS arcade game where you're going through different levels of floors. You're taking out billionaires that are your enemies and these robot things, and you have different power-ups after every level you get through. It's just a ton of fun. If you like just fast-paced stuff where you're trying to beat your high score and you're trying to find new ways to get through the levels, selecting your different weapons, different power-ups, great game. I would highly recommend to go check out Mullet Majak as well. Okay, let's talk a game that is coming to Game Pass. I believe it is the 28th, very soon, this month. Claire Obscure Expedition 33. The game looks phenomenal. I think this is going to end up being one of the better games released this year, at least from the gameplay trailers that we have seen. And we are getting some more feedback here from Shuhei Yoshida, who has had hands-on here with Claire Expedition 33. And he says, the game looks beautiful and it has a main story of 30 hours with additional 30 hours of side missions, but made by a team of 30 people. Unbelievably productive compared to all these AAA RPG developers. So he is very high on the developers behind this game. He's had hands-on, and it sounds like here he's pretty impressed here for the game itself. Also says here the game will inspire other developers or publishers. It'll be really interesting to see when this thing does come out, just how it does get received across the industry from reviewers. It's a game that is trying to do something different here in the AAA RPG space with the modernized graphic and the different style of turn-based and everything. So I'm very excited for it. We'll see just how well it does do. Now let's jump over here. Let's quickly talk a bit about Obsidian and potentially something new in the works that was accidentally revealed, whether this is something that they're working on or was it a mistake and they were told to take it down, or something that was a concept that is no longer a thing anymore. We don't know, but we did get this post here. This was via LinkedIn. A person working there, the game producer, had posted that they have been working from March 2025 to present as the game producer at Obsidian, working on an upcoming project. So very new, a game that would have just been started. Is it Avowed 2 because Avowed did so well? Is it The Outer Worlds 3? Is it a brand new IP of some sort that we've never heard of? If you do sit back and you think about the games that Obsidian makes, from Grounded to their RPGs like The Outer Worlds and Avowed, it could be something in a genre that we would have never even thought of, because they're so diverse and they're so flexible in the style of games that they are able to make. So who knows what it is, and whether we'll get an announcement soon. Probably not if they just started this in March 2025, unless this game has been in development much longer. But then they went ahead and they deleted it. So maybe it was a mistake, or maybe they were told you have to get that down because we don't want anybody knowing right now that we are working on an upcoming project. We don't know, but we'll see. We'll see eventually once they do finally give us an announcement of whatever this is, if it is something that does come out and something that they're ready to present to the public. All right, let's talk PS5 and console prices, because this generation in general across Xbox and PlayStation has been very weird. Instead of prices going down about 5 years through this generation and us getting some bundles or something during Christmas to try to get these consoles sold, they have gone up in price. And this isn't the first time that this is occurring. We're also seeing here from the Nintendo Switch too that the days of $300, $400 consoles are probably a thing of the past now, as everything is going to be pushing 500 plus here. And the PlayStation 5, although it is selling very well, they are now again raising the prices of the consoles. And here is what they're saying. They're saying the price increase is a tough decision due to a challenging economic environment, including high inflation and fluctuating exchange rates. So you can take that for what you will into the reasoning why they are doing it. But they're doing this here and specifically in Europe, Australia, and in New Zealand. And the new PS5 prices in the 4 regions are as follows here. The PS5 digital edition is now 499 euros. The physical edition remains the same price. And that's kind of an interesting thing here across Europe and the UK. The UK is now 429 pounds, but the physical version of the console remains the same. So getting that disc drive in there, which is probably the one you should buy just to have that option. is still remaining the same in price. Australia here is getting a price increase on both physical and digital editions. It's insane how expensive this thing is in New Zealand and in Australia. But Australia, the standard physical edition is now 829 Australian dollars, and the digital is 749. In New Zealand, it's 949 for the physical edition and then 859 for the digital edition. Those prices are outrageous for the PS5 in 2025. Even $500, in my opinion, is outrageous for a base PlayStation 5 in 2025. And the same can be said about the Xbox Series X. The prices are still pretty outrageous at this point, especially when you just think about what we're used to with generally about halfway through a generation. And I think we're probably a little bit past that now. Prices going down and price cuts and everything. And will we get even more raises as things economically get, I guess, more uncertain as to what they're saying and the fluctuating exchange rates? So crazy times here, but in those parts of the world, the PS5 is increasing in price. All right, let's talk Marathon here, because Marathon, they had their announcement the other day, and there's a lot of negativity surrounding this game. I think it looks fine. Like, I think it will be a fun game that plays well. The art style is interesting, and I don't think it's going to fail as a lot of people are saying it is going to fail. I think the Bungie name behind it will have people interested in at least trying this out. I don't think it'll be another Concord. It may not be the most successful game. It'll be hard to break in to a genre right now that is oversaturated. Multiplayer games as a service style of games. You've seen other games jump in and just completely fail. Again, Concord is one of those examples. But Marathon, I think, will have a chance here. And one of the ways that they are saying that they will be able to break into this game and to break into this genre is by not competing with the other extraction shooters. Specifically, here is what they said. This is Joe Ziegler. He was transparent here, talking with Jake Lucky about Marathon following the behind the doors playtest. A bunch of streamers got to show off the game, play it. Lots of content out there if you do want to go see what this game is all about. And here is what he says about competing. He says, I might be naive in saying this, but I'll be honest. To me, I don't think of making games as like directly competing and trying to eat a bunch of other people's lunch. For me, whenever I think about it, it's like, how do we offer something that's interesting and cool and can live in its own space alongside other titles and be just as big and important as others? And then going on here, he says, we really do want to create some of the most interesting stories you've ever had, and we're inputting a lot of dynamics to make that happen. At the end of a night of playing Marathon, we want you to tell a really cool story to somebody else you know to be excited. So he's saying here they're going to compete by not competing. I just don't know if that works in multiplayer shooters, just simply because you are absolutely competing for that person's time. There's just not nearly enough time for people to have multiple of these big multiplayer games as a service games on the go. They generally just spend their time in one, maybe two games, and that's the main things that they do play. Whenever they log on at the end of the day or whenever they're playing games, they're going to the thing that they are continuously getting better at and continuously progressing through, rather than playing multiple different ones. I'm sure there are some people that play multiple different ones, but in general, you are absolutely competing for time more so than anything. And I think that is the biggest issue. That's where we've seen a lot of these games fail, is you have people who've been playing Fortnite, Call of Duty, Overwatch. Now Marvel Rivals comes in here and takes up a ton of people's time. And they're just looking at something new that comes out and saying, I don't even want to try to invest any of my time into this, try to learn the new mechanics and things like that. And then the games end up just not doing well and eventually being shut down. So they're going to have to differentiate themselves. It has to be something that will want to pull people away from a game like Fortnite and go play Marathon. And that's going to be very difficult to do, at least the way that I'm seeing it shape up. But I do think they are going to be able to get Bungie fans and Destiny fans, where Destiny is a looter shooter, so maybe they've progressed enough and they don't want to grind anymore, so they're going to go on to the next thing Bungie does put out. There is an audience for this game. We'll just see how big it is and how long this thing will be able to last. And then they go on here to do something adding to the game that I just think is a bad idea. they're not going to have proximity chat, which is absolutely something that enhances that experience in these styles of games. They're basically just saying it's too toxic to put this in, and they don't even want to take the chance around it. I think this is going to end up being an overall bad idea, because proximity chat, I think, will be needed here as a part of making this game successful. But they say here, when it comes to proximity chat, I don't think we're against the experience of it, to be fair. And goes on here to say, I think the challenge is how to make sure we're creating a safe environment for players inside of that space. As I don't think anyone really has a good solution to that just yet, because we're so dedicated to making sure that we're creating a safe space where we don't have players just flaming each other or doing terrible things to one another. I think we're not ready to invest in prox chat until we have a solution, which I think is kind of crazy to not have this in the game. The reality is, I don't know if there will ever be solutions for this type of stuff. You're never going to end toxic people in games or end toxicity in online chat and stuff. The best solution to this is to leave that up to the individual to go in and block the person who is being toxic if they don't want to hear the stuff that they are saying. That's pretty much, I would say, the best solution that you can have, is to allow the onus to be on the person to make that decision as to whether they want to hear certain things that people are saying or block other things that others are saying. So no proximity chat to me is a bad idea, but we'll see if this has really any huge effect on the game itself. And finally, Zelda for the Nintendo Switch 2, the ports that are coming over. Really weird thing that they're doing here. And to me, this is, again, just another head scratching decision from Nintendo. But one of the things people don't like about Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is the fact that your weapons break. And they are adding a feature here that you can actually repair your weapons and your equipment, which you can't do in Breath of the Wild or in Tears of the Kingdom in the game itself. But now you're going to be able to do this, but only via a mobile app bonus. And here is what it says. It says, the Zelda Notes app also allows Switch 2 players to roll a random daily bonus, which can be stored and used in game. This includes generic items like meals and health boosts. And one of the rewards is equipment repair. So item decay, one of the most divisive features with the last two Zelda games. I was fine with it. I found it kind of added to the overall strategy behind the game. But yeah, it can get annoying at times. But they're going to allow Switch 2 players to repair weapons if they have a really cool weapon that they broke. And this is only going to be done via the app via the random daily bonus. So one is randomized, two, it is via a mobile app connectivity feature, which is kind of stupid. I mean, they could have easily added this into the game itself. And I think people would have looked at that as, wow, okay, if they're going to allow me to repair weapons, even if it's something that I get every once in a while and I'll keep it for a weapon that I do love, people will look at that as somewhat of an improvement for a feature that they did not like. But now they're only adding it to the app itself, and we'll see how this does catch on and if people are going to actually utilize it or even care if this is the case. But to me, it's a baffling decision. Nintendo with the Switch 2 is going to sell very well regardless. But they've made a lot of decisions here that you would think they wouldn't make these missteps with how big of a home run the Switch was. It's an easy home run for the Switch to just basically do the same thing, but they've decided to make some decisions here that I think will hurt it more than help the next gen for Nintendo. But I'm going to end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.